Disconnected? Harry Meghan's using their children to hold on King Charles' forgiveness. Greetings and a gracious welcome to the World of Royal Staff's channel. As the drama surrounding the Duke and Duchess of Sussex continues to unfold, it appears that their children, Archie and Lilibet, may become the collateral damage of their parents' ongoing feud with the British royal family. It has been suggested that if the couple are not provided with suitable accommodation in the UK, their children may never develop a relationship with their grandfather, King Charles. And whose fault would that be? According to some, the blame lies squarely with Harry and Meghan, who have already cut themselves off from their own families. Perhaps the most damning suggestion of all is that the couple's children may grow up to question the actions of their parents and even unleash a malicious media campaign detailing their trauma at being prevented from having a relationship with their royal relatives. It's a sad state of affairs, but it seems that Harry and Meghan have brought this on themselves. Despite being evicted from Frogmore Cottage, they have not been offered alternative accommodation in the UK. This means that future visits will be incredibly complicated if they are forced to stay outside the security perimeters of a royal estate. And it's not just the couple who will suffer. With no counter-offer of a place to stay, it raises the prospect that the king will have no tangible relationship with his two youngest grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, who may never be brought back to the UK. But is this really necessary? Surely King Charles has 1 or 2 spare rooms himself that he could offer to his own son and his family. And if security is an issue, they certainly don't need a spare 5-bedroom house dedicated to their very rare visits. As things stand, it seems that Archie and Lilibet are the biggest losers in this war between the Sussexes and the British royal family. They may grow up resentful of their parents for depriving them of the opportunity to build relationships with their extended family. Or they may become as manipulative and narcissistic as their parents, pretending to be victims of the BRF denied of their birthright as prince and princess. Kids of narcissists tend to swing one way or the other. The golden child, likely Archie, will probably become just like his narcissistic mother, while the other child will be overly empathic and constantly on edge, a victim of their parents' emotional manipulation. It's not surprising that the Harkles are afraid to let the BRF get a look at their alleged kids. Something is definitely up with those grifters, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're hiding something. Charles probably knows what it is, which is why he's not too concerned about not having a relationship with those kids. Let's be real, there wasn't much time for King Charles III to bond with the Harkle kids before they left. Just 3 weeks on a different continent, Harry posing for photos while feeding Archie air and everything else. Maybe Charles knows and doesn't want to get dragged into their deceptions. But now, the King's decision to remove one of the final links his son has to the UK is being seen as indicative of the current state of the relationship between the two sides of the family. Suddenly, a relationship with the King is so important to Harry and Meghan. Funny, it didn't seem to matter when they up and left the UK in a huff, throwing a temper tantrum like spoiled children. Well, Harkles, you're done. Nothing you do will get you anything. If your grandchildren have no relationship with the King, it's entirely your fault. Maybe in 30 years, those kids will unleash a malicious media campaign detailing their trauma at being prevented from having a relationship with their royal relatives. But honestly, who cares? It's kind of amusing to see the Harkles consistently respond like cliché teenagers. As staff members have said, dealing with them is like dealing with kids. Well, you know what they say, if you act like a child, you get treated like one. So go ahead, stomp off and throw your little tantrums. You're not going to see your grandchildren anyway. With 8 other grandchildren who don't come from a brood of backstabbing traitors, it's no big loss for King Charles to cut ties with those drama llamas. They're probably more trouble than they're worth anyway. But let's not forget about the real victims in all of this. Those poor grandkids who will miss out on having a relationship with their royal relatives. But hey, at least they have a true grandfather figure in King Charles, who takes the time to read them Harry Potter, even if they're not his flesh and blood. That's what being a grandparent is all about, right? Nurture over nature. Buckingham Palace has remained tight-lipped about the various allegations made in the Duke's memoir and subsequent interviews, but their actions are speaking louder than words. Last week, The Telegraph revealed that the Sussexes were disappointed, but resolute about the King's decision to ask them to leave their Windsor home. It seems that the couple was aware that it was their second home and that they remain incredibly privileged. The couple were asked to vacate the 5-bedroom property in January, the day after the publication of Prince Harry's memoir, Spare. Some reports suggest that the move was made in response to the Duke's criticism of his stepmother, the Queen Consort, whom he described as «dangerous» and a «villain». Others likened it to «ripping off a Band-Aid» for a monarch keen to resolve outstanding issues surrounding Harry, Meghan and Prince Andrew which he fears have been allowed to «drag on» for far too long. It seems that the Duke of York has been offered the keys to the property, but he does not want to leave his own family home, the vast 30-room Royal Lodge, set in 98 acres in Windsor Great Park. The Sussexes, on the other hand, are left to deal with the fallout of their actions. As we can tell, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are not on good terms with the royal family. Their repeated criticisms of the monarchy and their decision to step back from their roles as senior members of the royal family have caused a great deal of controversy and upset. Their behavior has been seen by many as disrespectful and ungrateful, given the privileges and opportunities that they enjoyed as members of the royal family. Their recent actions, such as the publication of Prince Harry's memoir and his subsequent interviews, have only added fuel to the fire. It is not surprising, therefore, that the King has asked the couple to vacate their Windsor home. The move has been interpreted by some as a direct retaliation for the Duke's criticism of his stepmother, the Queen Consort. While the couple may be disappointed, they remain incredibly privileged and are aware that the property was their second home. Reports suggest that the move was necessary to resolve outstanding issues surrounding Harry, Meghan, and Prince Andrew, which the King fears have been allowed to drag on for far too long. As for the couple's attendance at the coronation, it is unclear whether they will show their faces. Given their repeated expressions of dislike for the monarchy, it would make sense for them to stay away. Harry, in particular, is seen as an additional security risk after his recent comments about chess pieces. In the end, Harry's actions have brought him and his family into the spotlight and made them a target. If he had not deliberately drawn so much attention to himself, he would not have made himself and his family into such a large target. His self-righteous and self-centered quest for money and a new life has caused him to become deluded in his own misery. If he does not learn to move on and let go of his grievances, he will become just like all the other spares, remembered in history as footnotes to the real events. To be remembered, one must accomplish something. So, what's your take on the topic? Share your thoughts in the comment section and let's delve into Meghan Markle's intriguing personal life. If you found this video insightful, show your support by hitting the like button. Don't miss a beat by subscribing to our Royal Staff's channel for future updates. Thanks for tuning in, catch you later tonight.